Hey, everybody. It's that time on Friday when we're here
Yay.
to talk about There's No Crying in Crochet, a podcast where Biz and I, this is Biz over here, Biz, where Biz and I talk about all the things that frustrate you about crochet and other stuff, because there's a whole lot of other stuff in crochet besides frustrating things.
Yeah.
Let's do our business first. So we hope that you will subscribe to both of our YouTube channels because we both have lots of cool things showing up on our YouTube channels. So subscribe and like, and that way you get a little notification whenever we've posted something and you can go check it out. Right now, I'm running a crochet along, so there's an interview every Monday, Wednesday, Friday about whatever's been released that you can go check out and get really excited about that. And I know Biz is doing some tutorials as well. So check us out and make sure that you subscribe and like.
I have a new one coming
And,
out almost every week.
well, see, Biz is busy, and that's all I'm
Busy.
going to say. If you are watching us on Facebook, which I hope you are, give StreamYard, the platform that we're streaming through, permission to display your name, because what we love to do is to be able to talk to you like your people, not Facebook users. And we promise that none of your personal information is ever shared. You only have to do it once. They just present your name, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all the business. So, Biz,
Yes.
what is up with you this week? You
Well, I
share.
just said hi to Debbie from Central Pennsylvania. Welcome.
Mm,
And that's not you.
I know it's not, but
Um,
close.
yeah. So yeah, been real oh, excuse me. Hold on. It's
Try
been
that
a really
again.
busy week.
All right.
So, yeah, it's been a little crazy around here. We've had a very antsy husky in the house, so she's been a lot of drama. Today's been particularly bad. But other than that, crochet wise, I've been very busy working on a tutorial that is going to be, fingers crossed, coming out Monday, probably because it was supposed to come out today and just it's not moving that fast. So
Hey, it
probably
happens,
Monday.
right?
Yes.
That's what happens.
Yep, it is. And so I've been working on that. And then I've also, okay, I have to show you because I have them right here.
Oh,
But I decided to learn how to make ornaments. I know this is totally off track.
oh,
Aren't they
wow.
the darn
Please,
cutest thing ever? So that's
yes.
the other yarn related thing that I've been doing this week.
Fabulous.
How about you?
Well,
What have you been up to? I
oh
mean,
gosh, do tell. Well, I'll start with the personal stuff first. Not that there's a whole lot of personal stuff because crochet rules my life. Um, we celebrated my husband's birthday over the weekend. I won't say which one because I'm right behind him, but we always try to get our family together for a meal because that's just how we roll. We love to spend time together over good food and laughs and games and all of that stuff. But as the grandkids are getting older, they are involved in so much stuff. And so, and my kids as well. So to get them together now is it takes almost an act of God to find a time when we can get together.
yeah.
So Sunday, Sunday I decided let's do this a little differently. We're going to choose the day.
Mhm.
Y'all can come and go as you please as long as dad gets to see all the kids and all the grandkids. And that's
Uh-huh.
not very many. We've got 3 kids, a daughter-in-law, and 2 grandkids. That's really not a lot of people. But as it turns out, I decided to make homemade tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwiches and grill the cheese sandwiches as people arrived.
Oh,
So
yum.
that right? So as it turns out, everybody was able to, for at least 20 to 30 minutes, sit down at the same time. And we had our tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwiches, but a little off the beaten path with the menu there, but I kind of liked it. It was kind of
What?
fun.
It sounds like it was fun. I love grilled cheese and
I
tomato soup. I mean, it's one of
I
my favorite meals.
know. And I got a recipe for what is it called? Copycat Campbell's tomato soup. But of course, it's a healthy version. So
Really?
yeah, it's really good. All right. So the other thing that's happening crochet wise is I've got a crochet along going on, and it is so much fun. It's a granny stitch, but it's 12 squares that are designed by 12 different people. And it's a sampler. So each designer kind of designed a square that incorporates one of their favorite techniques or many of their favorite techniques or teaches you something new or come on. It's
Uh-huh.
just fabulous. We've got 3 squares released as of today, and I love seeing all the pictures in the Facebook group. It's just they're
Mhm.
gorgeous. People are challenging themselves because some of the
Mhm.
squares are not as easy as they are used to, but,
Uh-huh.
I love to see the, "Okay, I'm gonna power through this, I'm gonna work we're gonna get this,"
Mm.
and then see the end result, which is really cool. So that's going on through the month of October, so we still have 3 weeks to go before we finish that up. So that's been a lot of fun
I love
and
seeing
a lot
people
of
challenge themselves.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, and, I tried not to say things like, "Oh, you know what? It's okay if you don't get this one." I don't say that. It's, "You know what? There are resources.
Oh,
Give it a
yeah.
try. If you really can't do it, fine, but give it a try, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised," and that's really kind of the way things are turning out, so I absolutely love it.
That's
So,
awesome, and
anyway.
I'm watching everybody else have fun because I follow your group, plus I post it in my group so that everybody can see it. Because I do have a square in your blanket, and
Yes, you do, and
I
it's
feel
fab
very important.
and it's releasing later.
Yes, yes, it's not even next week, it's gonna have to
No,
hang
it's
on.
I know, it's kinda weird, but, it's coming soon.
It is. So, yeah, I've been, making sure that everybody in my email list gets all the information every time something releases. So I've just been keeping everybody informed, and it's been a lot of fun. I've had a lot of good feedback from it. People in my group are very excited about it because I'm not doing my typical Christmas crochet along this
Mm.
year. So some of them are like, "Well, hey, maybe I'm going to do this one as my Christmas crochet," because they love their Christmas blankets. So, but yeah, I do
Well,
have.
this is the first one. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I do have a Christmas blanket coming out. I'm just not hosting a cal with it. So,
And it is I have seen it, it is gorgeous. You
yeah.
need to do it. Yeah. So
And
blankets
that
are the
will be a
thing,
free one too.
which
I'm
brings
just
us,
making sure to
Biz.
say hi to everybody over here too.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna let you do that, and I'm gonna get us started on our topic because there are lots of people
Yeah.
joining us. Um, so Biz and I have started choosing a theme for the month,
Mhm,
um, because it helps us plan some topics that we feel are pertinent to our
mhm,
listeners, but also it's the one that we chose for this month, I think, is one absolutely relates to what we're doing right now. And we
yes,
decided to take on the subject of crochet blankets.
yes.
Now, one might ask, why do we need to talk about crochet blankets? Because we all do that. We know all about it. Well, you'd be surprised what you don't know. And we thought that it would be fun to tackle the subject. Today, we're just going to do an overview. This is going to be
Mhm,
our introduction to crochet blankets and talk about, answer a few questions, and then we'll delve a little bit deeper into some things in later podcasts. But one thing that Biz and I have discovered in our businesses more her than me because I don't design as I design baby blankets mostly and she does full size blankets mostly.
mhm,
We've discovered that crocheters absolutely love to make blankets. They just love them.
mhm,
It's uh, one of those things that just makes you feel so good when you're done.
mhm,
And it's such a satisfying project to work on. And it for all ages, from baby all the way up to seniors,
mhm,
crochet blankets are the thing that we
mhm,
all want to make. So we're going to introduce you and ask a couple questions today and just talk about why that is.
mhm.
And then we'll get into specifics a little bit later. So I'm going to pop the first question, not as a banner, but as a spoken word,
Yeah, yeah.
into our podcast here, and that is, What makes a crochet blanket so special?
Mm.
Thoughts?
For me, a crochet blanket is I automatically go to my grandma because she was the only one that I knew that crocheted. And everybody got a crochet blanket from my grandma. And she always did the oh god, what's it called? The one where it looks like you're knitting and it's really super popular, Tunisian. She always
Oh,
did the
Tunisian,
Tunisian
yeah.
blankets that had the like set in pictures. And
Mm,
I think I still have a purple one with white and yellow daisies that she crocheted for me years and years and years ago. And so for me, it's vintage, it's reminiscent, you know, takes me back to a place, you know,
mhm.
time can't touch anymore. So that's
Yep.
why crochet blankets are so special to me.
Yeah, for me, I feel the same way, but I don't have quite the same connection that you do because my grandmother did a lot of quilting and stuff, although she was the one who taught me how to crochet. For
Mhm.
me, I noticed that at least in my circle, excuse me, that we went through a period where babies would be expected. You'd go to a baby shower, and all of the gifts were from the registry, which is great.
Oh yeah.
But I could not bring myself to buy something from a registry. Even though I knew it was something that they needed and wanted, I
Uh-huh.
wanted to make something super special,
Mhm.
um, that they weren't going to get from anybody else. So baby
Mhm.
blankets are my thing. I love designing and gifting baby blankets because I'll never forget when I gave, my daughter-in-law a baby blanket for my first grandson at the shower, and
Mhm.
everybody else was giving all of these lavish gifts, and she opens it up, and I was thinking, "Well, this is gonna bomb because it's just a crocheted blanket."
Yeah.
It got oohs and ahs and, "Oh my gosh, who did that?" And it's one of those gifts that is so special, and it lasts forever. People
If you
keep
take
their
care of
baby
it, it sure
blankets,
does. Yeah.
right? Or like my oldest son who got a handmade baby blanket from someone and picked all the fuzz out and it's in strips. It's yeah, it's very I actually still have it and it's very old. But that's what makes crochet blankets so special for me is like you, it's the response that you get either from yourself or from someone else because
Mhm.
it's such a special gift. Connie says when we see them, it brings back memories of who we learned how to make from, that sort of thing. I just think they're
Mhm.
wonderful. Um, so that brings us to our next question. Why do crochet blankets evoke such an emotional response? Why are we so emotionally attached? Or why do we get such an ooh ah moment with these blankets? Uh oh, Biz, I think you've frozen, my dear. There we go.
I should be back. I know I was sitting there watching going, am I gonna be there? Am I coming back?
I'm telling you what, I'm just gonna insert this. Tech has been so wonky this week, and I just wanna get off tech, but we're here, so that's anyway, the question was, why do they evoke such an emotional response from us?
Oh, evoking the emotional response. Okay, so you said you love making baby blankets, and I actually do have a variety of baby and full size blankets. But I think because when I have like a special baby coming into my life, I have a tendency to design a blanket specifically for them. Might name it after them, might not,
Mhm,
just, you know.
mhm.
But they send me pictures of their babies wrapped up in these special blankets.
Oh,
And I just,
it
you know,
I
it
know.
just makes your heart just all over the place because you're just like, oh my God. And I think about when my babies were that little, and I mean, I love babies. So I am just, waiting for grandkids someday so that I can just slobber on babies again. But I just remember, loving to wrap my kids up in blankets, and it just, I don't know, it just evokes such a warm fuzzy feeling.
Yeah, I have to show you this comment because this is perfect. Because we know the hours and pain involved to make them, LOL, but it's the truth.
Mm.
Um, I have to tell you the story of, my oldest son. I have 2 sons, and, of course, they have their own homes. I decided to make each of them a blanket. Now the second son is still waiting for his, and what month is this? It's October, but it's almost done, I promise. I gave my oldest son his blanket, and I thought he was gonna cry, because
Aw.
it was just he just couldn't believe that I had spent that much time, and I've made blankets for his wife. It's not like this is and for
Yeah.
his kids, it's not like this is something new, but then he kept sending me text. My son doesn't like to text, but he kept sending me texts. "Mom, I can't tell you how great this blanket is. Mom, I love snuggling up in this blanket. Mom, I'm not taking this blanket." It's like, oh my gosh, if I'd only known I needed to make you a blanket, life would have been grand.
Well, and no, but
But
that, we're talking about what emotion it evokes. Not only are, you get to have emotions giving it to them, you feel like you're providing, you're sewing something into them, but also I just love it when people love what I give them. I'm not looking at the text or the, oh my gosh, this is so amazing, so that I can be like, oh yes, yes, I am amazing. Thank you. It's not that at all. It's that, oh my God, I am so glad. I am so blessed that you are so blessed. That just,
and
I
I
mean, it
th
just feeds me.
but crochet blankets, of all the things that we make besides
Mhm.
toys, because toys are
Oh yeah.
loved on by kids, but,
Mhm.
um, of all the gifts that we make,
Mhm.
crochet blankets are the one thing that it's almost like you're giving a giant hug to the
Yeah.
person who's receiving it, and I think that's what my son was feeling.
Yeah.
He's a big hugger, and so he
Mhm.
loves having arms wrapped around him, and that blanket was just like having mom wrapping her arms around him all the time, and
Yeah.
that's why I love to make blankets, because the people who use them almost feel my presence when they wrap up in them, which is
Yeah.
great.
And I know this is gonna
Um,
possibly come off as creepy, but our smell is on that, you know what I mean? And it's
yeah.
so weird, like, when we give stuff to our kids, they're like, "Oh my gosh, mom, it smells like you."
I'm not gonna ask them what that smells
"Oh,
like,
no, no,
but
no," it's like your perfume smell and that kinda stuff, but it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
it
Yeah. Yeah,
but it brings back
I
memories, and, I
totally
mean, my
agree.
son has gotten into this thing where he's like, "I just have to come and talk to my mom," Now that he doesn't live with
Yeah.
me, he's gotta come and talk to me, which is funny.
Sons and daughters, I mean, come
Yeah.
on. Alright. Well, our next question is, why as crocheters should we take the time to make them? Why should we do that? They take a long time. They can be expensive to make because they take a lot of yarn. Why should we do it?
Okay, so I mean, I have several fold ideas on this. A, because you're investing in something. The kinds of blankets that I make have a tendency to teach people new stitches,
Mm,
get them over humps, get them past feeling like they don't have the confidence to, like, I could never make something like that. Yes, you can. You really can. I
mhm.
promise. And I will help you.
Yeah.
I'll get you through it. You know, and that's for me, it's part that and part because I think that everybody should challenge themselves to do something big at least once in your crochet career.
Mhm.
Even if you make a blanket and you're like, I never
Yeah,
want to do this again, ever.
right.
Some people are small crochet item people, but I think you should challenge
Mhm.
yourself.
Well, there are so many ways to tackle a blanket, where if you're afraid of a big project, you don't have to do, like the blanket that I'm making for my sons is one big long chevron blanket. So
Hmm.
I have to sit with the whole thing. But you can start with small squares. Yes, you
Uh-huh.
have to sew them together. And yes, you have ends to weave in, but we've all dealt with that. It's a crochet thing and we have to live with it. But there are ways to do it that you don't have to be so overwhelmed by it.
Mhm.
Choose something that has just a few different stitches in it or one stitch that you do over and over. It's a great way to practice tension and
Mhm.
gauge and um, if you're not very good at half double crochet or double crochet or something, that's a great way to practice it. Make a blanket. You'll be a perfect double crochet maker by the end, or straight edges. Great way to
Mhm.
practice. It's just a great way to challenge your skills, but you don't have to do it with 1,000 different stitches in it.
Mhm. For sure. And another thing, when you were saying that, it got me to thinking about some people when they are doing. I'm okay. It's me. When I'm doing the same thing over and over again, I am so bored about halfway through. So I really dig things like the blanket that you have where it's just the squares. I love
Mhm,
making motifs because I can
mhm.
work on one or three or five. And if I'm tired of it, I can set it down and put it away and I can bring it
Yep.
back out and it can travel with me and all of these things. So like motif blankets are amazing because they're so portable and you can just do it. You get that small project satisfaction of completing one, but you're actually working towards something bigger.
Mhm. Now, this is where we differ. We all know from past episodes that we are different in our desires as far as
Muy
crochet is
diferente.
concerned. I'm a granny square fanatic.
Yes.
Give me a 3, 4, 5 round granny square and yarn and hook, and I am happy for hours. I can just, and it's for me, I do that does not that's my go-to. I just
Yeah.
whenever I'm feeling stressed, I go pick up a granny square. When I feel like I haven't touched one for a while, I gotta go grab some yarn and make one. It's just crazy.
Oh my
But a
goodness,
lot
that's
of
so
people
funny.
do find granny squares very boring because it's the same thing over and over and over again.
Uh-huh.
But that for me is the repetitiveness of them, but then you've got this cool little square.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's just my jam. So,
And
the opposite
they're
ends of the
staple in the
spectrum.
crochet world. So
I know, I know. Oh, yep, Connie, granny squares rule. Yep,
I do. They're
but
pretty fantastic.
that doesn't mean you can I have to say, because I'm gonna just insert here, your square for the granny stitch sampler blanket was so much fun to make,
Do you
so
want me
much
to
fun to
show
make.
it? I have it here.
Oh, go right ahead, show it,
Okay.
yeah, because, it's oh my gosh. Okay, so there's my granny stitch, my favorite granny stitch, but the popcorns and then the border at the top at the around the edges are techniques that I had never done before. Not that
Really?
they're complicated. No, I hadn't done them that way before.
Right, right. I know because everybody does
So
everything
I
different.
Right, so I haven't done them with color changes like that. I
Mhm.
have a baby blanket that has popcorns in it, but
Mhm.
it's done without color changes,
Mhm.
right? So you just work them in, and I
Okay.
loved learning how to do that. It was so fun
It
to
opens such a world of
experiment.
imagination.
I know, and the texture is
Well, and I
just
noticed that
crazy.
your square has some bumps or popcorns in it, doesn't it?
It does not have popcorns, it has clusters in the center to
Okay.
start, but then
Okay.
it has that 3rd loop construction so that it creates that surface crochet. No,
Yeah,
my
which is
square was
that's
very
right there.
much a yeah, yeah, yeah. My square was very much a challenge for me. I threw all of my traditional granny square stuff out the window and said, "All right, what can you put in this to make it totally different from what you normally do?"
That's
And that's what
awesome.
I know, right?
I'm so proud of
So,
you.
but I will say that it's got me thinking, uh, a a little differently about what I wanna do with some upcoming projects.
Okay.
Instead of just the simple stuff, maybe we're gonna spice it up just a little bit, and that's gonna be so much
Yes.
fun, yeah. I have
That's
to buy yarn.
exciting. I'm so glad for you because
It's gonna
I
be
mean
fun.
it just opens up and that's why I love doing other people's patterns too is because I learn something from everybody that I do, like
Mhm,
everybody's stuff that I work on. I learn something different. I'll learn different techniques or different way to do the same stitch or the different way to use the same stitch, as a
mhm.
designer. So,
That's the one that I love is how we use those stitches differently. It's like reading the same author all the time. That
yeah.
author writes a certain way and you get used to that flow of
Mhm,
language, but
mhm,
challenge yourself with a different author, a different designer, and they're using the exact same stitches, but oh,
mhm.
that's
That's
okay.
the beauty of the
Chills.
creativity.
Mhm.
Carolina says she's bought the yarn for the granny square blanket, so can't wait to
Yay, so I
finish her.
expect to see you in the group sharing all of your wonderful makes.
Yes.
Um, so you and I are just waxing poetic about crochet blankets. Clearly, we love them. Um,
Yes.
but we have a caveat to offer.
Yes.
Why you shouldn't choose a blanket for your first crochet project. Oh my. So,
Oh my god.
what you um you had some very, very insightful things to say about that. I'd love for you to share.
So the reason I discourage people that I teach to crochet from because every single one of them, almost to a person, has said, "Oh, I'm making a blanket."
Mhm.
No, no, let's no. I
Back
don't
the
want to
truck
pop
up.
any bubbles. I'm not here to smash your dreams, but let's just pull it back a little bit. Because the thing that you want to do with crochet before you would tackle a blanket, because a blanket is a major commitment. It just is. It's an investment in money, it's an investment in time,
Yep.
it's an investment in energy. And so you want to make sure that when you do a blanket, you're ready for it. Like your stitches, your tension's good. And of course you can learn and get better as you're making a blanket, so because
Mhm.
everything that we do creates a better product the next time. But you have to have a steely sense of purpose if you are a brand new crocheter and you're going to make it through a full blanket.
Well,
You
it's
just
so easy to get discouraged, and
it is.
it takes a lot of motivation to finish a big project. Um, and those are skills that a new crocheter generally hasn't developed yet.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
oh no.
Melanie, you'll have to share that on there.
Oh wait, yeah. Are you going to display that? Here, I'll show it.
I can't. You have to.
Okay, this is great. That's so funny because my first project was a blanket. Oh my gosh, and I thought I'd never get done, but I did, and I long have this because we wore it out. Oh,
That's
that
awesome.
okay, that's an awesome, awesome story. Um, so you can be the exception to
You
our
can. You absolutely can.
proposed rule.
Now, if
So
you're
we're
my
not saying
student,
you
I'm going to say, please don't. But if, I mean, like, if you do, I'm never going to be the person that's going to stand there and say, put the hook down and walk away. I'm going to be like, okay, well, we'll get through this together. It's going to
yeah.
be a long haul because
Well, as she said,
you're going to hit a brick wall at one point and you're going to be like, why am I doing this?
well, the statement is in there. I thought I'd never get done. So this is a thing. It's
Yeah.
a
But you know
real
what?
thing.
I think the other thing too is that um, you find a new I don't want to necessarily put it so wordy, but like a new sense of purpose. Like when you get into a blanket and you get to that point where you're like, I just don't want to do this blanket anymore. And it's a decision. It's like anybody
Mhm,
else who is going to persevere through something hard. You just make a decision. Nope, I'm going to finish this blanket.
mhm.
I'm going to just keep going. And then eventually they become fun. Like you're like banging them out,
Yeah.
you can do one a week, but
What was I thinking? I will
the first
say
ones are
that if
hard.
you yeah, and I will say that if you have a smaller project to do, we had actually talked about this in a
Mm,
much earlier podcast episode, but if you have a big project like a blanket and it's feeling just cumbersome, you need to put it
mhm,
down,
mhm.
but don't put it down with the purpose of never returning.
Right.
Just get something smaller that you can beast out
Mhm.
and get your sense of purpose back, and
Yep.
then pick the blanket up with fresh eyes and fresh hook,
Mhm.
and usually you get yourself over the hump. So, um, don't think you have to do it in one sitting or I'm gonna
Mm.
crochet for 9 months and do nothing else, because you don't have to.
Okay,
Ah,
I
Connie says, "Remember your why." Yeah.
yes. Why the heck am I doing this? Absolutely. Uh, but I consider myself a professional crocheter, and I don't wanna sit there and do a project for 9 months straight.
Right.
Forget it. I would no, thank you. I have to give myself other things to do. So, Connie and I have talked about this a few times. She and I talk about crocheting quite a bit, and but I have to block my days so that I can touch all of the things that I want to do. I have work hours in which I work on my business projects, and those are where I'm working on my video tutorials or those kinds of crochet projects. And then by 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I switch over into me mode, and I go and I sit and I watch my murder shows and I work on projects that are me. That this is
Mhm.
what I want to do. It's my decompressed stuff. It's my for fun stuff. So I still get to touch the fun things and I'm still working. And I find myself to be more productive when I break it up like that.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with you. Now, I don't break my day up quite like you do.
Mhm.
I start my day and end my day every day with crochet. And generally, those crochet projects are either for the business or
Mhm.
a gift for someone, or, it's
Mhm.
a personal thing. But generally, my personal things are I'm designing something for a person or me
Mhm.
that's then going to become part of my business.
Mhm.
So and I spend a lot of time in front of the computer during the day, but I don't quite do it that way. And that's
Mhm.
just, we find our personal
Oh, yeah.
flow, and that's what works for us. And we crank out a whole lot of crochet, don't we? We have a lot
We
of
do.
crochet going on.
We do.
Yeah.
Although I will say that, like, when I'm designing a blanket, I have a tendency to do it when I'm watching TV at night just because they're so big. We're pausing. I feel like we're pausing.
We're just buffering, but hopefully we'll get back on track. Freeze in that position. Well, I think we've answered the questions that I have on my list. Was there anything that you wanted to add to today's discussion, Ms. Biz?
I don't think so, but if does anybody else have anything that they wanna say about crochet blankets, so that tell us how you feel about it. Like, what is a crochet blanket to you? And while
And
you are getting those comments in there, what
no, I was going to say if they have any topics that um, they would love to see us discuss about crochet blankets. If we can add it to the podcast, we would
oh,
love
for
to,
sure.
because that's why we're here. It's not just to serve our need to be in front of the camera. We just we want to help you with your crochet
Yeah.
blanket. So if you have any of those, um, yeah. While we're waiting for comments, do you want? When we'll swing back around to that, do you want to talk about what you watched this week, or should we just wait?
Um, what did I'm stuck on Agatha Christie still. I've just been screening for Agatha Christie on Prime, and I just finished the ABC Murders. It's actually got Don Malkovich as Poirot.
Ooh.
And it was good. It's a much darker, version. It's, like, supposed to be him where he's aged and retired, and, they he doesn't have the same clout that he has always had before, and it's just I liked it. It was really good, well acted. John Malkovich's Belgian, accent is atrocious, but if you can get past that, then it's a really good movie.
Oh my gosh. That's cool. Oh, pricing. Connie says pricing, how much to charge when selling them. Oh, okay. Um, Biz, you probably know this as well. I don't think either one of us sell our products we design particularly, but
I
there's
will
a
do
formula
commissions
you
on
can use.
occasion. Yeah. I do
Yeah,
have commissions on occasion, but it always depends on who it is. Um, but for the most part, my blankets start at 300.
because they take hours and you don't want to undersell the hours that you spend. Plus, you have to do materials
But
as well.
we will hook you up with a resource from Pam that helps you to learn how to price your items.
Mhm.
That would be better than us just throwing out what we do.
Yeah, she has a
So,
formula that you can work through.
yeah, I'm gonna go and
Um,
grab that while you.
oh, good. Well, I haven't really been watching much crime. We're making our way through um, the last thing he told me on Apple TV, I think it is, where Jennifer Garner's husband goes missing and she's trying to figure out where he went. And it's very interesting how it's playing out. I love it. And the other one we're working our way through, which I mentioned before, was the old series White Collar, which is really cool. They've got a case they have to solve every week, and you've got a criminal working for the
Yes.
FBI and his struggles. So, anyway, it's mostly just sports right now because, of course, Philadelphia is just rocking the house in baseball and football right now. So we have to watch those. And I'm okay with that because they're really good. That could be a crime to watch that instead of true crime. I don't know.
Oh
But
yeah, we're well into football land too.
oh, yeah. Yeah. The
All
Eagles are
right. Here
undefeated.
is Pam's pricing video.
Ooh, perfect.
Did it post?
Oh, good. And she has a downloadable resource, doesn't she, for that? Or maybe not. I don't know. I think on her blog,
She
she might
does.
have a
I'm
downloadable
gonna double
resource.
check the. Mhm. She's got like a whole Excel file for you to download that's
Mhm.
free for you to plug your numbers in and it'll spit you out a price.
Yeah.
So, because it
Yeah.
helps you to take it takes you through not only your materials, but your time, your overhead, your everything. It tackles everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that's on her blog somewhere. Crochetpreneur, thecrochetpreneur.com, I think it is. Yeah. All right. That's it for my watching, my viewing
I did want to
pleasure.
say what I did want to talk about though is next week's subject. We are going to
Ooh.
be talking about and tackling um, how to crochet character inspired or trademark inspired blankets without actually breaking copyright or trademark. And so that you can create inspiration blankets and things like that without, you know, being illegal or
Mhm.
unethical. Because that's what it's kind of what I do for most of my living is I do inspiration blankets based off of I've got one from God, what is it called? Little girl with the mushrooms. Alice in
W
Wonderland. Nightmare Before Christmas, Little Mermaid. I'm working on this next year. I'm going to be bringing out one that's based on Willy Wonka and Mulan, and so you can create things that when you look at it, you're inspired by it
Mhm.
without it necessarily having to be, oh my God, that's Mulan.
Right, so just as an example, and we'll be talking about this more in the next podcast, it
Mhm.
is illegal to replicate Mickey Mouse on a blanket.
It
Just a
is.
straight up picture of Mickey Mouse because that is a trademarked figure. Um, and so if it's for personal use, I suppose it's not a big deal. But a designer who puts that out as a blanket that they're selling or as a pattern they're selling, you can get dinged pretty heavily for trademark. Disney will come after you. I'll tell you an example of something that happened to me. It's not blanket related, but I did last year, the gift I made for my grandson who loves armadillos was an
Mm,
armadillo tissue box cover. So you just
okay.
take a square, it used granny squares. It was not a design that anybody had ever seen before, but in
Uh-huh.
the Etsy description, the title, I used Kleenex box cover. And Kimberly Clark came after me and said they took it down and they said, "You can't sell this." Well, it's not really a Kleenex box cover, so I had to let the dust settle, call it a tissue box. It's like
Right.
calling every copy a Xerox.
Yeah.
So,
So
we will talk about that.
I had the same thing happen to me with my oh my God, why is my brain just skipping a beat? I can see everything. My Hero Academia is an anime that my son loves. So I designed a blanket for him, an inspiration blanket for him, because I'd done his sister's Nightmare in before Christmas one, and he wanted one. And I put it up on Etsy as inspiration, My Hero Academia. I had the same thing happen. They're like, "Oh no, you don't." So
Was it because you used the name in
yes,
it yeah,
they're
so
like,
it
"That
wasn't
is
the
ours.
design, it was
That
the
that
name.
belongs to us." I'm like,
Yeah.
"My bad. So sorry." I just took it down and renamed it because it
Yeah.
has 0 characters. Like, you couldn't look at that and go, "That is a My Hero Academia blanket," unless you know what's going on in the anime itself.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's really tricky, but
It
we'll
is.
we'll try to help you through that next week.
Yay! Lots of
All right,
advice.
one all right. I think we've covered it. We'll try to put some of these links in the show notes, in the YouTube description, maybe even Facebook. We'll try to do that.
Mhm,
The right resources for pricing and things like that.
mhm.
So you
And
can
the
find
reason
that.
we recommend Pam is because she's our business mentor, and
Mhm.
it's a formula that works, and there's no sense in
It
reinventing the
does.
wheel.
Yeah, I agree.
So, alrighty
All
dighty.
right. I think we have solved all of these problems for today, and I am so excited that so many people showed up and interacted, and we
Yes,
love having you talk to us during the episode. It's fabulous. So I hope you do it
absolutely.
again next week. We'll be here at the same time next week. You can
Mhm.
find these episodes either in our Facebook groups or on our YouTube channels if you want to rewatch. And like we said, like and subscribe and share with your friends because lots of crochet people love to do blankets. So we would love to have them join us and join in the fun. So we're going to say goodbye for now.
Mhm.
Goodbye to you, Busy.
Goodbye, Miss Debbie.
And we will see you next week. Have a good
Yes.
one.
Bye, everybody.